This meeting to order, please. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Are there any public comments on any of the agenda items? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Approval of minutes from the January 14th, 2025 organization meeting. I believe everyone had a chance to review those. Could I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Mrs. Clear, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you. The second set of approval of minutes from the January 14th, 2025 regular meeting. Are there any questions, any concerns? If not, may I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Thank you. How do you vote, Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you. Next, we want to take a look at the approval of bills. It's in the packet. Melanie, Mrs. Page, do you have any comments, any questions about
You'll
them?
just see that there were 3 checks written, one for electric, one to Alt Air, and then in regards to the 2024 tax settlement agreement with the school district, it was our 2025 payment.
Thank you very much. Any discussion, any questions? If not, could I have a motion to please approve the bills?
Make a motion?
Thank you.
And I'll second.
Thank you. Mrs. Clear, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Moving on to the financial report and 2023 audit report. Mrs. Page or
Okay.
Mr. Waldinger?
We are in receipt of the December 31st, 2023 audit report from Zielinkovsky Axelrod LLC. Excuse me. The authority did receive an unqualified opinion for the 2023 audit. There were no findings or anything else associated with the audit. Everything was in accordance with government auditing standards. I believe that this was in your packet as well for your review if you have any questions or anything.
It was. Thank you. Any questions or discussion from the board at all? Okay.
I do have Cheryl.
Yes.
Are you asking about questions on the audit? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Yes.
I'm asking on questions for the audit.
I have one question, just one comment. Typically, I'm used to being on various boards, usually having where the board typically meets with the independent accounting firm just to ask questions. And I know our statements aren't very substantial or complicated or whatever, but I'm always used to having a brief meeting with the board and the accounting firm. So I don't know if we could do that, consider that either for this year or next year. And one question I would ask if we did was that on page 3, that where it says management has omitted management's discussion analysis that GAAP typically requires for this type of audit. And I just wanted to have Ms. Page just comment on that. I know it's not a big deal, but I just wanted, that'd be a question I would have asked the auditing firm.
I did see that as well. I had not been asked to provide a management discussion and analysis to them. I guess I just assumed, maybe I shouldn't have, that due to the nature, I don't want to say the simplistic nature of the general authority's financial statements, that there was no need, or that would have been a part of a requirement. But I think that is something that to set up a meeting with them is a good idea, and I can definitely do that. Okay,
great. Yep, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. I think that's a great idea. Do we need to vote on this then? Okay.
Sounds good.
May I have a motion to?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Mrs. Claire, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you. Mrs. Page, is that something that you will set up then?
Yes, I
Thank
can
you.
contact them and set that up.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the demolition project Phase 3. Mr. Waldinger, you want to give us an update, please?
Yes, thank you very much. A public notice that the authority would receive bids for the demolition of the Grasshopper Building was published in the Erie Times News on Friday, January 17th, 2025. A copy of the notice was also sent to all contractors who received bid documents for Phases 1 and 2. The notice indicated that bids were due by 3 p.m. Friday, January 31st, 2025. The authority received three bids prior to the deadline, and the bids were publicly opened and read aloud here in the assembly room of the municipal building at 3:15 p.m. on January 31st. Upon review of the bid packages, it was discovered that 2 of the bids failed to include a salvage plan as required on page 3 of the instructions to bidders. However, the bid package also contains the following disclaimer: the authority reserves the right to reject any and all bids and to waive any irregularity in bids received whenever such rejection or waiver is in its interest. Based on this language, I reached out to the 2 contractors that did not include a salvage plan and presented them the opportunity to provide one by the end of the day on Thursday, February 6th. Both companies provided salvage plans, and so I evaluated all bids on an equal footing. The bids received were as follows: Consul Construction, $28,600, Empire Excavation and Demolition, $23,999, and Siegel Excavating LLC, $19,000. I am recommending that the authority award the demolition project Phase 3 to the low bidder, Siegel Excavating LLC of Edinburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay, any questions, discussion around that?
None here.
No.
If not, may I have a motion to approve Siegel LLC in $19,000 for the demolition contract?
So moved.
I'll second.
Mrs. Claire, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes, I'm sorry, I was muted. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Glad you're there. Mr. Olet?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Waldinger?
No, thank you,
Okay.
not regarding that.
Okay. Moving on to communications. Any treasure report or treasure communications, Mrs. Page?
I just did want to reference that in your packet was also an unaudited version of the 2024, December 31st of 2024 financial report. For the year of 2024, we did receive a little over $260,000 in revenue. The majority of that being from the Erie Land Bank for the demolition grants. And on the expenditure side, we did have about $507,000 in expenditures. Again, the majority of that being the $260,000 that was spent on the demolition that was reimbursed by the Erie Land Bank. So in total, we did spend down from our cash reserves of about $247,000 during the year, and that leaves an ending balance in our cash of a little over $227,000 at December 31st, 2024.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Page? Okay. Moving on, thank you very much. Moving on, we'll go to the Executive Director, Communication and Update, Mr. Waldinger.
Thank you. Yes, I only have one update today, and that has to do with the demolition of the Bel Air Phase 2. I did speak with the contractor and indicated that work on the project has been delayed due to the harsh winter conditions and temperatures. To date, they have performed some interior and exterior salvage operations. They've been going in and removing select items. I understand they also removed the light poles in the parking lot in order to salvage those. They do anticipate beginning interior demolition work in the very near future. we can have a discussion with the authority afterwards as far as the contract and if we want to take any steps, depending on when they begin work. As you know, the contract did call for the building to be down by February 28th and the full job to be done and restored by May 31st. So we can have those discussions.
Okay. Thank you. Solicitors update or report. Attorney Shaw?
Nothing on my end.
Okay. Thank you. And consultant communications, Altair.
Good afternoon. I'm Amy Murdoch with Altair Consulting Group. Just an update on what we've been working on over the past month. We did have our regular monthly action plan meeting with the project team this month and reviewed next steps for the next 30 days. Reviewed a proposed agreement for potential co-development with a partner in the district. We worked with an engineering firm to draft additional design concepts and test fit potential development scenarios as we work to get ready to do a more public outreach with the RFQ and RFP for developers. Continue to organize and file documentation required to meet special conditions of the grant contract with the Pennsylvania Office of the Budget, and provided recommendations to the executive director for RACP funding compliance for some of these site work bid awards. So that's all I have to report. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. At this time, I would ask if there's any citizens to be heard. If so, please approach the podium and give us your name and address.
Good afternoon. Dennis
Good
McCann.
afternoon.
Unfortunately, you all know who I am. The Phase 3 project, will that be eligible for reimbursement with the land bank?
Yes, it will be.
Okay, great. I'll keep the cost down, that's great. And is Grasshopper, even though it's a much smaller, is it going to be eligible also?
Actually, Grasshopper is Phase 3, and yes,
That
it
is
is.
concluded.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bel Air
I
is
want-
Phase 2, and it also, all of the demolition work is eligible for reimbursement from the land bank.
Didn't know if that was in part of, I apologize, I wasn't sure.
That's fine.
There's a lot to keep track of. Thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Thank you very much. As far as an executive session goes, I believe we are meeting after this meeting, I believe. So we will, yes, Mr. Waldinger.
I do not believe that, at least I don't, unless the board does, anticipate any action necessary after executive session. So if you would like to adjourn the regular meeting, that would be fine, unless someone has a reason to hold the meeting open until after.
No, I don't think so. I think we can go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Do I have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Thank you.
A second.
How do you vote, Mrs.
Yes.
Clare? Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you.